Alright, hello. I'm going to be doing two knives at once here. They're both Gerber Applegate Fairbairn series. One is the Applegate Fairbairn Fast 3.7-inch serrated with a G10 handle, and the other one is a Gerber Mini Covert 3-inch blade with serrations. First one is assisted opening, as you can see there, and the second one is just a liner lock. Alright, let's talk about the first one here. The G10 handle is about 5 inches long, just over a little bit. It has aggressive jimping on both the top and the bottom, so it fits in your hand very nicely. Pocket clips on the back. It is not removable, or it's removable, but it's not reversible. So where you see it is where you get it. I don't know what the blade is made out of, because no website I've found says, but since it's Gerber, they use 440 for a lot of their knives, so I'm assuming it's either 440A, B, or C. Same thing goes with this one. I'm going to say 440 on the steel. Nothing wrong with it. A lot of knife makers are going with 8CR13, MOV, 8CR14, SK5, AUS8, AUS4. 440 is a decent steel, a good steel. It takes some maintenance though. Needs to be sharpened more often. It's a little bit softer than I like. It usually has 56 or a 55 to 57 Rockwell, and I think a 58, 59 up to 60 is ideal for a rough use knife, but you're not going to be out in the woods with this thing doing much except for maybe cutting rope and stuff like that, so really not that important. The serrations on 3.7 are very deep, as you can see there, and it is a 2 to 1 to 2 pattern. That means 2 small to 1 large to 2 small. Again, very sharp. Got a good shallow grind, good edge. The serrations are chisel edge, that means flat on one side and ground on the other, like most serrations are. They work very well. There's some jimping on the top of the blade, which doesn't really do anything because you're not going to be holding it like this. The jimping here is sufficient, and the G10 is grippy enough to where it will not slide out of your hands. This one's about 49, maybe 55, depending on where you get it. I usually shop at knifecenter.com just because it's a giant knife wholesale warehouse, and they usually have better prices than anywhere, so that's where I go. You may pay a little bit more, but you gotta remember shipping is part of the consideration. Now let's move on to the smaller one. This knife does not have G10, it's glass-filled nylon. I believe it's called polymide or polyamide or whatever you want to call it. Got aggressive bumping, or I don't know what you want to call it. Got a good texture on it, so it holds in your hand nicely. There is no jimping except for on the liner right here, which doesn't really help much, but it still fits in your hand pretty nicely, and you hold it. It holds up to getting wet and heavy use. Again, false edge. They're both dagger shaped, or spear shaped blades, but single edged. Serrations on this one is a 2 to 1 to 2 again. It doesn't have as deep or as a shallow of a grind as this one does, but they're still effective. This is a, if you look at the difference between the two, these serrations, the small serrations stick out further, so this really grabs into something and tears. These will slice. Again, pocket clip is where you get it. You can take it off, but you can't move it around. The liners on this one are, hang on, look at my notes here, sorry about that, are 40 thousandths thick, so that's pretty standard, and these are 50 thousandths on the bigger one. So a little bit thicker, maybe a little heavier duty. One thing I wanted to show you on this big one is to close the knife, you have to use this button here. You can lock the blade from opening. You have to have this button slid up into the up position. There's a little red dot to mean open, like fire on a firearm. And then you have to slide this forward, which unlocks the blade. I usually just prefer liners, just for the simple fact that there's nothing to go wrong with them, really. But this has held up pretty nicely. I've done some picking and digging with this thing in wood, and it's never slipped on me yet. I haven't taken it apart to see exactly how this works, but I'm assuming there's a spring, a coil spring, and when you push up, it unlocks maybe a cam or something in the mechanism to unlock the blade. There's little holes in the end for if you want to put a lanyard or whatever on here. The large one is not a flow-through. Let me open it up here. I mean, there's a small hole here, but there's this back plate in between the liners which completely closes it off. All the way wraps around here. So if you get stuff in there, it'll be a lot harder to clean out. This is a partial flow-through. As you can see there, there's a spacer down here. That just gives it a little bit of extra strength. But you can still get some crud in there, and you'd have to take a Q-tip or a piece of cloth or whatever to get it out. If I didn't answer anything in this that you wanted to know about, just post a message up and I'll try to answer it the best I can. Oh, this is about 30 bucks, and like I said, this is anywhere from 45 to 60, depending on where you go. Alright, thanks for watching.